Harbaugh heads to the NFL. He's going to take the Chargers role as a head coach. That's old news. Sherrone Moore becomes a new head coach at Michigan. Also old news. But I want to talk about what's next for Michigan and Sherrone Moore. Now, as Michigan fans, you have got to be ecstatic that you had your guy in-house at Michigan that you can promote to the role of head coach. We've just seen what happened to Bama's roster. We've just seen what happened to Washington's roster as they both have had brand new coaches. That roster, the best players that were either they were draft eligible or they have hit the portal. And that it could be very detrimental to your roster, especially if you don't have a deep roster like Washington and Michigan in a lot of cases this year. So as a Michigan fan, you've got to be just absolutely ecstatic that number one, you got the guy that you wanted, but number two, that he is in house. So far, he's done a great job, tremendous job of maintaining his roster that they currently have. I think there's only been two guys that have entered the portal. So Sherrone Moore has done a phenomenal job so far of roster retainment. Now, he will have a harder role than Jim Harbaugh ever did in the Big Ten. There's new blood coming in. This schedule is going to be all contenders. There's no divisions. Schedules are going to be way more difficult. The travel will be more. So he has his work cut out for him. He's going to have a lot of big time players that will have now entered and will be entering the draft. So he needs to rebuild and replenish. And he's entering a year where last year their schedule was really easy. They had two hard games in Penn State and Ohio State. Now this year they are entering a gauntlet. They open up with Fresno State and Texas as their first two games. Immediately, those are probably two of the harder games that they would have had last year outside of Penn State and Ohio State. And you can argue that Texas would be harder than both of them. And on top of that, they have USC. They have a rematch of Washington, Oregon, and Ohio State. So this is no longer, a two-game schedule for Michigan. This is going to be a gauntlet. This is going to be a grind week by week. And Sherrone Moore has a lot to live up to. Harbaugh brought Michigan back to be a national title winning program. They were in the shadows of Ohio State for close to 2 decades, really. So he has a big shoes to fill. I think he'll do a great job. I think he's the guy for the role. I'm excited to see him, but man, he's got his work cut out for him. But I think he's up to the task.